All right, we're back. Week 2 of the Wizards League. Sending the all clear for the Mamox battle against Purp Ribbon Monstars. All set and all set. So, last time, Purp Ribbon Monstars tended to lead with the Skarmory. Mamox here is clearly got a pincer on the team, likely to see a mega pincer. Could see us start off with the pincer as just trying to sweep through, but I could see Purp going for some sort of, oh, and what a call, there's the pincer. I could see Purp going for some sort of hazard strategy here, though, because I don't see a spinner, but at the same time, Mamox could be packing some sort of secret defogger that I don't know about.
All I know is that pincer does not look healthy. What an orange-colored pincer.
Now, Pincer is a really powerful mega. He has an ability that turns all the normal skills that he does into flying skills. However, Mamox decides to immediately swap to the Swampert, and this is a Mega Aerodactyl, so this is super fast, and it gets the rocks out immediately.
Yeah, before the match, Purp ATL was actually taunting Mamox, saying, I'm going to bring Mega Beedrill against you. The results are in, and that was a lie.
Clearly a lie, and one thing is for sure is both of those Pokemon are very fast, Mega Beedrill and Mega Aerodactyl. But we do see a Stealth Rock as well from the Swampert, which Purp might have been thinking that was coming because he swapped to his Rapid Spinner in Starmie.
Yeah, good call. But is that exactly what Mamox wants? What could this Swampert have for a Starmie and just a swap?
So we see an Ice Beam from the Starmie, which is a little odd. I mean, I think that he wanted to get the Swampert, but I mean, the Swampert wasn't going to do much against Starmie, so I think we could see a spin here, and the Umbreon's probably going to try to get a Toxic off, if I had to guess.
That is how Mamox has traditionally been running this Umbreon in this season. Although we're saying that when we are in week 2.
Yeah, and taking a look at the roster, it appears that this Umbreon is a Toxic Stall Umbreon, pretty conventional. Heal Bell, Protect, Wish, and the Toxic. So I think Purp might be predicting the Toxic here and going for the Steel. Yep, straight to the Skarmory. There is the Toxic, does not work against Steel. Really good swap there by Purp. And just like that, he puts a layer of spikes out. So it looks like Purp is going for some sort of major hazard strategy here.
Ah, yes, Major Hazard. He's the one that trained Lieutenant Surge.
Mia Joliaza. But interesting that we Swampert, because he's ground, he will take the spikes pretty well. The Alakazam as well has Magic Guard, so it won't take any damage. And the Pinsir, if he had Mega Evolved it, would have avoided spike damage, but he did not.
Yeah, Purp really going into that strat. Oh, there's the fire coverage.
Yeah, and Perp immediately going to that whirlwind there, and I keep telling people that Skarmory is such a big physical wall. Even super effective physical moves are not good enough. As expected, that water against water isn't great there. That's probably why Mamox swapped out of the Swampert last time against the Starmie. See the same swap there. Maybe we'll see a Rapid Spin this time. Nope, the exact same play into the Ice Beam. So maybe that's what Perp wanted in this exchange, is just to keep chipping down this Umbreon.
Yeah, it is quite low now. It will probably have to go for the heal instead of prioritizing the poison.
And we'll a pretty clear protect here, so I think if you're Purp, you got to make a swap. Goes for the rapid spin, not going to do much with the protect there. No ghost on the side of Mamox 45, so he's pretty much free to rapid spin at his leisure. Did get the toxic off, but again, Starmie is not only holding a leftovers, it looks like, but also has natural cure. So if he goes for the swap out, that toxic will go away. There's the natural cure. Swapping over to the Chansey, and you can't wish while there's already a wish out, so that's why it failed there. And the Chansey is a pretty good swap into this. However, I don't think that the Chansey is really going to be able to kill the Umbreon here. So we'll see. And he goes for the heal bell. Looks like he wanted to get his Skarmory cleansed to that burn.
Yeah, that will reactivate the threat of some Brave Birds out of that Skarmory.
That's true, especially with Pinsir and Breloom on the other side. The double toxic, the synchronize already toxic. Both of these Pokemon can very easily cleanse this toxic. There's a heal bell into a seismic toss from the Chansey. He's willing to let his Chansey take a few hits here from the Rocky Helmet and the toxic, but I think after that he's not going to do that again. So there is the soft boiled, and we'll either see a swap here or just go ahead and looks like they were both expecting a swap, which is kind of funny. However, that wish hits that Umbreon back up to 100%, and these toxics are starting to hit, so we're going to see a swap here. Now, Umbreon deciding to go for the heal bell on the swap. And Skarmory might go for that third layer of spikes here. No, goes for the roost to heal up on the swap. He knew it was coming. And, at this point, what is his moves besides just tossing out Whirlwinds? And he gets the paralysis, which is good. Definitely good there.
I mean, we've only got 2 layers of spikes up. We could see the third come down, but I do think it is time to cash in and get those Whirlwinds going.
And hitting Umbreon is kind of unlucky because he can go ahead and, toss a wish out or just do something that is productive in the face of a Whirlwind. Definitely kind of a stall game so far. I think that, Mamox wanting to lead with the Pinsir as his primary sweeper there just didn't really pay off. And we are seeing Purp go to the Metagross here, which is a powerful sweeper. So let's see if we get some action. One thing to note is this Umbreon is wearing a Rocky Helm, so it could be built physically defensive, as that's how he had it built last week. So this Metagross may not hit as hard as it would against a specially defensive Umbreon.
Could see some earthquakes to mitigate that Rocky damage.
Definitely could. There is a swap to the Swampert, maybe expecting some sort of earthquake, but goes for the Stab Meteor Mash, which, again, against a water Pokemon, Steel is not great there. But this is big damage, and Metagross does not do well against Earthquake, and Swampert's Stab Earthquake is huge here. So if you're Purp, you got to be on top of that typing. Yep, and he swaps over to the Starmie. I think we see an Earthquake, and we do, and that stab hits so hard. The Starmie from Purp, I don't think is packing Recover, so Oh, it is packing recover. So we could see a recover here because it's definitely faster than the Starmie. But I think Mamox is onto the fact that that stab earthquake was huge damage.
Yeah, Purp got a little comfortable switching the Starmie in against the water attacks, but it cannot take those physical monster earthquakes.
It looks like Purp is going to go for the Ice Beam there again, and he finally gets a good swap. Very, very greedy there to go for the Ice Beam because Ice is just normal effectiveness against Swampert. So, very interesting. And he gets the Freeze Hacks! This could spell the end for Mamox. Getting the Freeze Hacks is the Starmie. Is he going to take advantage with a recover, or is he going to go for an attacking move?
It looks like we just saw the value that Purp saw in Ice Beam.
And that freeze hack is unbelievable. He decides to just go ahead and kill. This Alakazam is one of the Pokemon that Mamox has that can outspeed the Starmie. And we saw it have things like Dazzling Gleam. It could also have Shadow Ball here.
One thought also is that Purp is willing to let this Starmie die. He said, "You've done your job. You've put in good work. I need the clean switch in." That could be easily why he's playing so aggressive with it.
That's a good point. I see he put, and there it is. So he did decide to just go ahead and leave it in, and I like the move there. I think he may have had one turn to hit a recover, but that Shadow Ball may have just, took care of it anyways. Going with the old Chansey. And now Chansey is a premium special wall, and even though Alakazam packs Focus Blast, it's still going to take it decently. However, that big special defense drop is huge there. Focus Blast again. He hit it twice now, but Toxic doesn't work against Alakazam, which Purp will see here now. And Chansey is kind of now under the gun because if a Focus Blast hits again, it will kill it. I think you may have to just, I don't know what you do here. You may have to swap just to take it, or just let the Chansey risk the miss on the Focus Blast and go for the Soft Boiled.
2 Focus Blasts in the row. Okay, this third one is going to miss. Call the miss. Get your Soft Boil off. Make your swap. He's going to run out of PP soon anyway.
That I think that Focus Blast is one of those that only gets 8 total PP with the PP up. So he swaps to the Metagross, which is it's a decent one, but because it's neutral. But that just hurts so much. This Alakazam is Life Orbed, and it has Toxic to protect its status. This Metagross, if it gets hit by a 4th Focus Blast in a row, it will take it down, and yeah, there's a Shadow Ball, super effective, and
big crits. Was it essential? Who knows?
I think Purp has to send out the Aerodactyl right here to kill it.
Yeah, got to beat that Alakazam speed with speed.
Like, Aerodactyl with a Stone Edge is what you need right here. There is not much else that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you have Jolteon, but I don't think, a stab. And he goes for the Jolteon. So we could see a stab Thunderbolt here. A Volt Switch will not kill this Alakazam, I don't think.
No, not with how he's managed to avoid all the spikes, the rocks, the toxic. There is no chip damage for this boy.
And he is Life Orbed, so he chooses to swap to the Umbreon there. Will we see a Volt Switch out of it? No, we see a Shadow Ball trying to maybe just one-shot that Alakazam, but even with that, I don't know if it would one-shot it. Just because it's not stab. The Jolteon is really fast. We could see a Volt Switch maybe back into the Chansey, because if you're Purp, you need to heal up some of your Mon that Alakazam beat through, and I think So we do see the swap back to Chansey. Probably going to see... Okay, so we see a Wish come out, which means that the Pinsir is going to... He's going to try to Mega Evolve this Pinsir here because he wants that Wish to save it from the rock damage and the spikes. Yet again, though, this is really interesting because Chansey cannot fight this Pinsir. So we are going to have to see a swap into something that can. Skarmory cannot either. This is not going to go well here because Mamox, interestingly, that that Swords Dance is really going to send the Pinsir to the moon. Skarmory could fight it maybe, but this is going to be tough. That's a lot of damage there. Is he going to just go for a Brave Bird? No, he goes for a Whirlwind, and it hits because the Paralysis did not stop it. And Jirachi will be able to finish it off if he doesn't swap out here. I think I'd swap.
I don't know. At this point, many walls have been broken. Many walls are weak. I think it's time to sweep. Let it die. Get the clean swap.
You know, if he goes for the Drain Punch with the Jirachi, then it will offset the Rocky Helmet damage a little bit. He chooses to go to the Chansey, which is risky here. It's not a lot of damage, and the burn isn't really that big of a deal. But the Jirachi could go for an Iron Head here, and he does. That flinches the Chansey, and I think Purp is in a lot of trouble here. All right, this is it. Aerodactyl, you gotta just send out the Aerodactyl. You don't have a choice. Like, you need your Aerodactyl to just take care of the rest of Mamox's team. Going back to the Skarmory, this Jirachi's just going to kill it immediately. Now, it will get a Rocky Helmet proc. It survives, which is crazy, because he went for the Fire Punch. And Fire Punch is kind of low power. And, you know, you kind of see it happen, and Skarmory is the physical wall.
Yeah, that Chansey Skarmory foil is really paying off on Purp's team.
And it's really unfortunate that he's still paralyzed. I mean, Chansey had plenty of shots to cast Heal... Well, maybe one or two shots to cast Heal Bell in there. There's the hit from the rocks. There's the third layer of spikes, which is, you know, important, but at the same time, like, you knew that that Wish was coming to do the exact same thing he just did. Close combat critting it, but Skarmory is so powerful. Mamox didn't go for the Swords Dance because he thought that exactly what happened there, but the Alakazam comes in and does not take any damage from the chip.
This Alakazam has been a major difference maker.
Oh my god, and he just hit with what must have been the 5th or 6th Focus Blast out of 5 or 6. I mean, this man's Focus Blasts... I mean, Alakazam, if there's one Pokemon to hit with him, it's Alakazam. He always seems to hit with him. And there's the Shadow Boat, and as I thought, it does not one-tap. I would have gone with the stat Thunderbolt there. Like, just screw it. Like, go for it. Like, you can't mess around there, or you gotta send in the Aerodactyl. That was your one chance to really get... Geez, not your one chance, your third or fourth chance to get that Aerodactyl in here to race the Alakazam. He decides to just leave it in, which, actually, this is crazy. Purp is still in this. Yeah, there it is! The 3 layers of spikes killing the Umbreon. This is unbelievable because Jirachi is just probably going to come in and be very low, and Jolteon is way faster, so we could just see Jolteon kill the Jirachi here. The Pinsir will come in and take at least 50%, 25%, maybe even 50% with the bug typing. And there's the Thunderbolt, as thought he was faster. The Pinsir's going to come in here and take 50% of his HP. Jolteon is still going to be faster, but Quick Attack turning into a Flying type move. Oh my god, this is crazy. Aerodactyl is faster than this Pinsir. Will he go for the Stone Edge? It's very risky to do so. I've told him about this. It's super risky because this Pinsir is no joke because he did not press close combat.
It's a showdown of the megas. It's time to figure out who's coming out on top.
I mean, from first glance, I would pick Aerodactyl. He's got the speed, and he hits with the Stone Edge and gets the crit. Takes down the pincer, 4 times effective on the pincer, and that is enough for game 1. I thought Mamox was going to come back there, but Purp, just as I thought, the Aerodactyl comes through and sweeps almost the entirety of the rest of Mamox's team. Insane.
Quite the match, and that is only game 1.
Yeah, I was sick. That was an incredible game 1.
Whew, sweating.
All right. And we are now set up for game number 2. Kicked off, Mamox leading with the Swampert. We saw him kick out some Stealth Rocks last time with the Swampert, so both trainers have that here, and Purp maybe trying to get a little something there, forgets to Mega Evolve his Aerodactyl, and just Stone Edges, and it does virtually nothing to the Swampert there, and it looks like both players are realizing, oh, in the waterfall, he left it in, and the rock Pokemon just gets absolutely destroyed. That could just be the end of the fucking game right there. Just like that. And there's the Ice Beam again, and Swampert's typing is very good. It's the grass moves that are 4 times effective, and I don't know if Purp is just hoping for some freeze hacks, but losing that Aerodactyl is crazy.
Getting 2 power-up punches off. Yeah, Mamox's swap of lead really changing the pace of this game. Purp possibly being a little overconfident with that victory in the last one.
Yeah, 2 power-up punches here from the Swampert, and there's a waterfall which crit there. I mean, Starmie is faster, so we could see a recover here. And you're not going to see the flinch ability from the waterfall come into play against Starmie, but power-up punch is no joke when Swampert is sitting at over 90% HP.
Yeah, and that's why I would probably throw a couple more out there. Either that, go for the swap, bring him out later. He's perfectly fine to make an impact then, too.
There is a third power-up punch into the Chansey, and with 2.5 attack, we're going to see the Earthquake, and it does over half of Chansey's HP. Chansey throwing the Toxic out there to try and force him out. If you're Purp, I mean, you got to just swap to the Skarmory and hope that he pressed Earthquake again. But this is, I think Skarmory is your only swap here. In fact, Skarmory is just such a powerful lead. I think Purp needs to go back to his roots and just get the Skarmory out there to start. I mean, that thing just kind of hoses the Swampert.
Oh, yeah, that Rocky Helm really come into play there. But boom, big crit.
Huge crit. The second big crit from Mamox with the Swampert. I mean, if you're Purp, you're pulling it out again for the Metagross. We see an Earthquake, which will just one-shot it. If you're Purp, you gotta wonder, do you really have any shot here in this second game?
Yeah, and the other part of that question, how do we adjust into game 3?
Yeah, this is going to be a short game 2 here. This Swampert really just took out half of Purp's team, and Chansey's almost dead. Skarmory is doing pretty good. Jolteon's full health, but this was quite a sweep there by power-up punching Swampert, and, that Leftovers did a ton of work on that Swampert. Focus Blast hitting again, which is, I just can't believe it. He chooses Focus Blast, maybe predicting the swap, but okay, there is the forfeit in game 2 from Purp. Ready to go on to game 3.
I think he just hits the Focus Blast because he knows...
Aerodactyl was just too much.
The Focus Blast has perfect accuracy. He knows it has perfect accuracy. Why wouldn't he click the Focus Blast?
I guess when you're right, you're right. I just keep pressing Focus Blast.
Hit or miss, I guess I never miss.
All right, let me go ahead and send them an all set. All set, and all set. They may be deciding who to lead here, and if you're Purp, I think you go Skarmory. Mamox probably sends out the Swampert because it went pretty well there. I don't think you really need to change things up, but we really haven't seen Breloom do a thing, so maybe we see the Breloom. Nope. Mamox deciding not to screw around and sends out the Alakazam, but Aerodactyl, Purp needs to go after this Alakazam here.
Time for a Focus Blast.
And a Focus Blast is just normal effectiveness against this Aerodactyl, so I think for me, I'd probably just hit it with the Psychic. And there's a Stealth Rock, which is risky because Psychic doing 3/4 of the Aerodactyl's HP. And, swapping to the Chansey, which is probably the right move with the Shadow Ball prediction, doing nothing. I mean, any of those moves are not going to hit this Chansey well. Chansey with the Toxic on the swap. If you're Purp, you saw what happened last time with the Swampert just sitting there free. I think you got to go to the Skarmory immediately.
Mamox knows that clock on the Swampert was turned on way too early. He had no power-up punches. Immediately into his Cleric. Time to get some heal bells going. Synchronize.
He sends it back to the Chansey. We did see this before. The Chansey goes for the heal bell there, and the Wish will just probably... I guess he'll just let it hit the Umbreon. Heal bell's off the Toxic. Goes for a Toxic again, which will synchronize it back. Now here's the Wish. Now one thing is true, is that both of these guys have heal bell. So this whole Toxic game back and forth is, kind of just for play. Not really going to get much done with it.
Hey, if they want to play with each other, let them play with each other.
A little bit of a cat and mouse game here. The Seismic Toss hitting the Umbreon. Now this Umbreon does have the Rocky Helm, but the Toxics going out look more like they're trying to predict swaps, and neither one of them are really willing to swap. And honestly, if you're Purp, this is probably better for you, because the Umbreon's Wish has less PP than your Soft Boil, and there's multiple pieces to this Umbreon, whereas if you're Chansey, you really just can sit there. Here's the Wish again. It synchronizes it back to the Chansey. I guess we'll see another round of heal bells. Let's hover over the Umbreon here to see. So there's 13 out of 16 wishes left. And we've got... Oh, and it looks like in this generation, the heal bell has significantly less. Or sorry, excuse me. The Soft Boil has 15 out of 16 and wishes 13 out of 16. So same PP there for the healing moves. Ooh, Mamox deciding to go for the Pinsir swap to heal up from the Wish. We saw this in the previous couple games, and we're going to see a Mega Evolve from the Pinsir and probably an immediate Swords Dance.
Yeah, he's definitely tired of playing footsie. Time to send Pinsir in.
And if you're Purp, I think you just press Whirlwind.
We have seen Skarmory take these. He will get the chip damage back from the Rocky Helm. It's a pretty clean play.
And if Mamox decides to swap, the Whirlwind will just swap to somebody else. So, it's a pretty safe bet here because your Skarmory is 140 base defense. And there is the swap to the Breloom. We're going to see a Whirlwind. If it hits the Pinsir, no, it hits the Swampert. But this is still a good matchup for you if you're the Skarmory because, you can just sit there and lay out spikes.
Spikes for rocks. Very typical trade.
And there's the power-up punch doing almost nothing. It's not really the point of power-up punch. He's trying to go ahead and set up, but Skarmory has Whirlwind, so I don't think that's really going to be very effective. He gets the Alakazam, which is probably his best one he could get, because he just hits with Focus Blast every single time.
Yeah, keep spinning the door. We'll hit Zam eventually.
And that Breloom Armory, if you're Purp, I think you're kind of worried here. And yeah, there is the Mach Punch just killing the Skarmory. You got the 2 layers of spikes out and the Stealth Rock. Is it going to be enough, though? Because Mamox now can safely set up without having to worry about Whirlwind. You know, I think Purp is really underestimating Aerodactyl here. And Aerodactyl comes out. He forgets that it's at 25% and it just dies. He had to spin those away before he could send it out. And that's a huge misplay.
That flying typing. Flying rocks. It never work out.
And he brought Rapid Spin on the Starmie. Wasn't able to get the Starmie in the rotation to get those rocks out of there before the Dactyl could come back out. And you're in big trouble here because Metagross, while he can sweep, I don't know how he can take out things like maybe the Jirachi.
I think the big issue is that Alakazam right there, and getting that big hit on it, massive.
So that was really big, and I think we'll just see another Bullet Punch here. There is the Jirachi. Now, but the Jirachi will be faster if he has something else besides Bullet Punch, but he looks banded, so I think we'll see a swap maybe, and it's Steel, so maybe he goes to the Starmie. You know, Starmie is faster than Jirachi, so that or Jolteon, honestly, both of them are faster. Rocks will not do 25% of Metagross's HP, so I think he may want to try to save this Metagross. Looking at Mamox's roster, though, Steel Psychic is not that great against the rest of Mamox's Mon.
No, it's definitely going to be a raw stat check with this Metagross.
You're in big trouble if you're Purp, because this Iron Head, the crit hits, the burn hits too on the Fire Punch, and this is just bad luck for Purp. He did get the freeze hacks in game 1, which definitely was great for his luck, but here in game 3, he's getting crit on, he's getting the burns on a Fire Punch. I mean, that's just unlucky. Here comes the Umbreon to take this Volt Switch, and this Jolteon will just die if it sits around for a turn there, so he decides to swap it out, maybe trying to get the Chansey into Heal Bell. Now this Starmie will outspeed, but even with that, it would have to be something like Stab Scald.
I think it is time to start shooting off the Scalds. A Rapid Spin at this point, maybe it saves your other Mon, but it's a little late for it.
And even with a somewhat defensive Umbreon, the Scald doesn't do enough, plus the Toxic. However, the Toxic damage will not proc before the Wish, so he will survive. We'll see the same thing here as we saw the previous turn, but Toxic might hit for more damage. It does and kills the Umbreon. Pretty big there because Starmie has Natural Cure. If Mamox swaps to Alakazam here, I could see something maybe brewing for Purp. This is getting interesting.
It all depends on that health on Chansey. Can it beat the Alakazam?
Now there's the Alakazam. It won't take any of the damage. We saw this last time, and the Shadow Ball will not... Oh, and it takes down the Starmie. Insane. The Metagross could come out here for a Bullet Punch. But here's the thing is, like, you kind of have a free swap into Swampert. Or you just let the Alakazam die, which is... With all those rocks, you don't have to worry about that with Alakazam, though. So here's the Pinsir, and a Quick Attack is not very effective. Let's see if it takes down the Metagross. I'm kind of interested. It probably will. Let's see who's faster between a Bullet Punch and a Quick Attack. There's the Quick Attack. It doesn't kill! It's not very effective, and there's the Bullet Punch killing the Pinsir! Oh my god! This is unbelievable!
With the critical hit. Amazing. The Citrus Berry healing the Jirachi back up.
Oh no! If you're Purp, you just swapped a Chansey, and it's gonna get beat the fuck up by this Jirachi. You're in trouble here. What are you gonna do? Because Jolteon doesn't have a fire move, and it's just gonna die. You needed your Jolteon for Hidden Power Grass on the Swampert, and I think you just lost right there. Why you don't want to swap Chansey into a physical attacker? And oh no, there's the Drain Punch killing the Jolteon, and Metagross comes back out and takes the damage on the Stealth Rocks, and that is the end of the match. Crazy first
Great game,
match of the
guys.
game.
Oh my god.
Great game.
That was fucking close. Good games.
Well played, gents.